Hi, everyone. This is Katie with Empowering Astrology, and this is our weekly check-in. Seems like this is going to be a little bit of a regular thing. Seems like you guys like this. So this is the week of July 29th through August 4th, 2019. So I wanted to have a little bit of a check-in with you all about what's going on this week. Also talk about, actually give a little bit of a sneak preview of August's astrology. So it's really hard to believe that we are so close to August. And per usual, time is flying. So how will August be different than July? We're not in eclipse season anymore. Can we still expect that we may be feeling some reverberations with this eclipse energy? So if you're joining me live on my Facebook live feed, please let me know how you're doing. Please let me know how you're feeling the energy of this week. I know that as we record this, we're having what's called a Sun-Uranus square. And one of the metaphors that I use for astrology is that astrology just tells us what time it is. So it's about reading, different hands on the clock. And this week we're kind of in some what's called Uranus time. Uranus time means that we need to break out of the status quo. We need to be open to new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing the world, new ways of seeing ourselves. In astrology, Uranus is the planet that's after Saturn. Saturn represents this boundary between kind of the world that we know, and it's structured and it's got responsibility. But then here comes Uranus. It's meant to break us out of these kind of old structures, these old patterns, these old boundaries. So we're kind of pushing boundaries this week. And I know that I said on Instagram that I used the kind of the word YOLO, this idea of you only live once, YOLO. And what is it? What's our YOLO right now? Because I was having this conversation with my client earlier today, and she, she's in the type of work where she can kind of give short notice at work, like to leave her job very wow, suddenly not very coherent, but to give notice very quickly on short notice. And she left her work, but her chart is on Uranus time, which means that she needs to get out of these old patterns, these old things that are not supporting her anymore. And it's scary. And I can completely sympathize, because that's what I'm doing too. I'm getting out of my status quo. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm in Uranus time as well. So it really depends on what sign we are, what our chart is, that kind of gives us a little bit more of an idea of what's going on. So I see a couple comments right now that people are feeling some intense emotions and people feel like they're leveling up, which is great. I certainly feels like we're in kind of going into this next level now that we're out of eclipse season. And I will add that, right now Mercury is coming up to what's called a station direct. It'll turn direct on July 31st, same day as a new moon. So this week, Mercury turns direct. Hurrah. This one's actually been shenanigans. Somebody last week said that I perfected retrograde chill, and I think I made a joke like, oh, famous last words, which I feel like that was famous last words. I feel like today, I don't know about how you all feel, but today's just been a little bit off the rails. Maybe that's the Uranus energy. I slept in till 8:45. No, I overslept. I didn't sleep in, I overslept. Couldn't sleep last night. Just felt really restless. Just couldn't kind of shut off the mind, which is very atypical for me. I think I went to reset the alarm and somehow just didn't set the alarm, period. So I guess we woke up at 8:45 this morning. Me. So maybe it's just that kind of week. Maybe with this Mercury retrograde energy, things aren't quite going the way we want them to go. As a completely frivolous aside, I went shopping in New Jersey yesterday and found, I'm not a Taurus, but maybe you guys can see this. It is a vintage Taurus mug, which I thought was super, super cute. And maybe that's just going to be my thing now. I just go to vintage shops and find vintage astrology mugs or astrology things in general. But anyway, it's kind of a funny week. And let's also be honest, we're a couple days, we're at what's called the dark of the moon right now. The new moon is on Wednesday, and that new moon kind of kicks us off into a new lunar month, one that is focused on Leo. But that means that in this dark of the moon, we're wrapping up a lunar month that was very much about the eclipses. So today, tomorrow, we might be feeling a little emotional, a little reflective, coming out of this what's called a Cancer lunar month. I think what I was trying to say is that Mercury is also making what's called a station retrograde to Pluto over the next few days. And Mercury opposite Pluto is really great for getting to the bottom of things. If you've got some sort of mystery to solve, this might be your week. If you need to find information that's otherwise been hidden, this is also maybe your week. But if you are Mercury ruled, if you're a Gemini or Virgo, or if you have strong placements in those signs, this opposition to Pluto might be a little uncomfortable right now. So if you are a Gemini or Virgo, just hang in there. Really try to be present with Pluto energy is the best recommendation I can give you. I think that to be present with Pluto energy means working with yourself or working with a therapist or somebody who can help guide you. I always think with Pluto energy, we need a guide. In the mythology, Mercury actually is the only god that can go into the underworld and ferry somebody from point A to point B in the underworld. And maybe that's in a way Mercury's strength. That I think we've been doing a lot of shadow work this eclipse season. We got a lot of shadow work in July. So it sounds like I'm looking at some more comments. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Nikki. That things are kind of going on a lot for you right now. I'm personally looking forward to Mercury turning direct on Wednesday. Like I said, I'm trying to do the Mercury retrograde chill, but today I was just like, what is going on? But I think another thing to keep in mind this week, as I alluded to a few moments ago, is that we're having a Leo new moon. So this new moon is at, and I will give you the details. This new moon is at on the 31st of July at 11:11 p.m. Eastern. So that is, I think that's 7:11 p.m. California. Can't do math on the fly, guys. And then also that would be the next day, London, Sydney as well. And this one's going to be at 8 degrees of Leo for those who like to pay attention to that level of detail. I like this new moon, maybe famous last words, because it's in Leo. It's a sign that I enjoy all the signs, but I do like being in Leo season. I do like the creativity, the passion, the drive, the self-expression of Leo. Leo is art, Leo is performance. Maybe that's the artist deep inside of me. But this new moon opens us up to a lunar month that is we're living through the prism of Leo. We're learning about our talents. Doesn't matter if we're Leo or not. We all have Leo somewhere in our chart. So we're learning about passion. We're learning about being ourselves. We're learning about expressing our truth and expressing the parts of ourselves that maybe we've been holding back. I like this new moon because it makes what's called a conjunction of Venus and Leo, and it makes what's called a trine to Jupiter. So in English, I think that this is a beautiful new moon and a beautiful lunar month to focus on romance, to focus on creativity, to focus on connection. Leo, and especially with maybe Venus and Leo, it's how do we be in the pleasure of life? How do we be in the pleasure of romance? How do we romance life? How do we get artistic and creative and passionate and check in with the arts or connect with people. And it's, I mean, to me, that's a very beautiful energy. It just reminds me that, you know, now the North Node is in Cancer, which means that collectively we're all learning to open up emotionally, to connect more on that level. But we, you know, the past 18 months, we were doing what's called the North Node in Leo. And one of the messages that kept coming through in my client work is that be yourself, reveal yourself, show yourself. It's hard, I get it. There's so many reasons why we don't want to share ourselves with the world. And so that's was at the time, and maybe in a way continues to be, our personal work, is to kind of clear anything that's preventing us from being seen. You know, I'm here with you all. I'm on Facebook Live. I'm putting myself out there. I'm being seen. That's my way of working with the energy, because, you know, I'm a human being too. So the other thing about this new moon is that it makes what's called a square to Uranus. So it's got all this really juicy, interesting energy. It's got that trine to Jupiter, the Jupiter that really wants us to travel the world. There's a lot of fire energy. Leo, Sagittarius, the other fire sign is Aries. Fire energy in August is going to make things move. And I think it's been a little difficult to make things move in this past July, because Mercury has been retrograde. Even though things have been moving with the eclipses, but it's been a little bit wonky. I think that going into August, once Mercury turns direct on July 31st, we have this Leo new moon. We're going to go into this time where it's really much about the fire element. Fire element is about the self. It's about new beginnings. It's about movement. It's about personality. It's about faith and belief, education, travel. I think this is a time it's going to feel a bit different than July. But this new moon does make, like I said, a square to Uranus. So the next 4 weeks, we have to get outside of our comfort zone in some way. If being in front of a group or a crowd or in front of the camera or being seen, period, is difficult, how do you do that differently? Is it something as simple as changing how you look so people can like physically see you differently? Is it really focusing on your talents and passion in August and having the bravery and the courage to put it out there for people to connect with? I mean, that's very intimate and very scary to create something that's so personal to you, never share it with anybody, or when you do, to have it out there, you know, for people to potentially critique. You know, Leo is confidence. You know, maybe we all need a shot of confidence this week and a shot of confidence this August. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're not a Leo. You've got Leo someplace in your chart. Leo is an energy that you are every year during this time learning to connect with more, to kind of bring into your consciousness. So I like this Leo new moon. I'm excited about what it's opening up. I think, you know, planting seeds with this Leo new moon, if you're the type to be very intentional about, maybe writing out intentions. I mean, with this new moon, I really would focus on things around the self in the most positive way, of course. I would focus on creativity. I would focus on talents. Like, what would intentions look like for this new moon? And then note that it might mean getting out of your comfort zone in order to really take advantage of this energy, because the square to Uranus, you know, right now Uranus is in Taurus, which means that the things that we are really holding on to, the grooves and the patterns and the ruts, you know, Taurus is typically not a sign that likes to make a lot of big changes. It's Taurus's core instinct, and it's for good reason, is to preserve the status quo and to keep things the same. You know, Taurus gathers, Taurus makes sure we have resources at our disposal. So with Uranus and Taurus for the next 7 years, in a way, Taurus is having to go against its instincts, which means that there's a part of our life, wherever Taurus is in our chart, we have to go against the instincts of that part of our chart. If you want to know which part of your life, which part of your chart is getting that Uranus energy, make sure you go to, I did do this in my most recent update today for July 29th. I did link to what's called Uranus and Taurus sign by sign. So I know for the Leos listening, happy birthday, by the way, you're in a time of reinventing your professional life and your career over the next 7 years. I've had a lot of Leo rising clients. Interesting. Not interesting, because they're in this time of change and reinvention. And if you're watching live, let me know, like, how are you feeling this energy? How are you feeling Leo season? Are you excited about the Leo new moon on Wednesday? Are you excited to get out of kind of that energy of the eclipses? I'm excited. I think that somebody said they just woke up after a much needed nap. Like I said, I woke up at 8:45 this morning, and I was just like, what happened to my alarm? I do not know. So the Mercury retrograde is very strong right now. I think also going into August, speaking of Uranus, Uranus is going to turn retrograde on August 11th. I know this is a little bit down the pipeline, but when it does go retrograde on August 11th, we're checking in with this story. Like I said, it's a 7-year story of reinventing a particular part of our life. For Aries, it's money. For Taurus, it's the self. For Gemini, it's really working on blind spots in the unconscious. If it's Cancer, it's about really reinventing friendships and community. If it's Leo, it's reinventing career. If it's Virgo, you're reinventing your worldview, which I know is a bit of an abstract concept, but you have to kind of break open how you see things, Virgo. If you are a Libra, it's doing a lot of deep emotional work at this time, poking into the hidden spots deep within yourself and deep within your psyche. If you're a Scorpio, like me, it's reinventing relationships, all relationships. If you are a if you're a Sagittarius, you're reinventing your daily life. You're reinventing how you take care of your body. You're reinventing work, everything about kind of that daily life. If you are a Capricorn, you're reinventing how you express yourself. You're reinventing your personality. You're reinventing something that's very much a part of you. If you are a Aquarius, you're reinventing your roots, your foundation, your home, your family. If you're Pisces, you're reinventing your voice and how you communicate and how you're heard. Just seeing some comments. I'm excited too. I see that Sarah says, I'm a Leo. I've been in the middle of trying to find a job and that will support her career growth. That hasn't been easy. This might be kind of more of like a bigger point. If you're Leo rising, whatever is happening right now is part of a story, a much bigger story arc that's happening that will take you through the next 7 years, where if we were to fast forward 7 years, you may be doing a totally different career than you are doing now, or you're opening up. This is the thing about Uranus energy that is very important for everybody that's watching, whether it's live, whether it's on the replay, whether it's on YouTube. Uranus doesn't like falseness. There's like a totally like a better way to say that. When we try to artifice, that's the word that I'm looking for. Uranus doesn't like artifice, meaning if we're trying to push ourselves into a career or push ourselves into obligations or expectations or beliefs that are just really against who we truly are, we're gonna get some friction. during this time. And so for everybody, especially if you are a Leo rising, what is it that you really want to do? If you had a magic wand, what would you be doing professionally in the world? And so maybe it might not be so clear right now because we're at the beginning of a story. Uranus just went into Taurus this past March. What do you really want to do so that every step that you take right now is getting you closer and closer, so that by the end of this, what's called transit, 7 years from now, you're at that goal. You're at that goal of really doing what brings you passion, brings you joy. Looking at some, people are going through some strong, some custody stuff, which is never easy, of course. So I'm sorry to hear about dealing with custody mediation. And there's, for some of us, there's definitely some difficult things going on right now. Before I forget, and I, part of doing this is to, of course, interface with you all more. So if you have questions before we wrap up, please let me know in the comments. I want to teach more astrology to you all because it's certainly my passion. If we were to, look at Leo season as a time to reconnect with the things that make us very passionate, like astrology makes me passionate. It makes me passionate because it's a very simple, but complex system that tells us what time it is based on when we were born, based on our sun sign, based on our rising sign. I'm actually in the very early stages of writing a book, so kind of putting that out there as a little bit of a sneak peek for you all. It would be Empowering Astrology, the book, at least that's the idea. But learning to read the different hands on the clock of your life right now. So I'm going to be teaching more. I'm going to be doing more webinars. Thank you all for those who have really supported me and participated with webinars that I've been doing. I'm going to be doing one this Saturday, shameless plug. This one is on how to read your astrology chart. And my philosophy is that your astrology chart, meaning the chart of the moment that you're born, is one of the most important documents that you have access to. It's your map. It tells you what time it is in your life. It can be this very kind of scary, overwhelming, complex thing that you look at and you have no idea what these symbols mean. But this webinar is meant to give you a crash course in how to start to decode the different points. Which way is north in your chart? Which way is south? So that webinar, again, is on Saturday, August 3rd. It's at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 1:30 p.m. Los Angeles, 9:30 p.m. London, and I believe that's 6:30 a.m. In Sydney. Just checking in on some comments. So there's that, and I'm just kind of tossing this out there because I know I have people that read my stuff in Spain. I'm going to be in Barcelona. I'm going to be in Spain longer, but I'll be in Barcelona particularly August 9th through the 11th. And I've already heard from a couple of you, but if you are interested in doing a personal one-on-one consultation in Barcelona, please get in touch with me. You can email me at empoweringastrology.com. You can also Facebook message me through Empowering Astrology. I've got a couple people who are already interested, would love to get a couple more people interested. I'm Sag rising, so I want to take this international with my work with you all. And I do actually do a lot of work with you all internationally already. I've got clients in Europe, clients in Canada, clients in Australia. So that's part of me that, Sagittarius is the sign of foreign travel. So I definitely, I love that. Yes, thank you, Heather. Yes, the best teachers are the ones that are passionate about what they are, what they've learned, what they teach. And for me, I mean, I came to astrology. I was into astrology as a teenager. Actually, I get asked this question a fair bit. How did you get into astrology? I was into astrology as a teenager, kind of that nerdy, bookish teenager looking up astrology books in the library because there was no internet back then. But it was when I got to about age 28, 29, and what's called the Saturn return. Everybody has the Saturn return at age 28, 29, and my life was not in a good place at that moment. And I needed to understand why, what was happening. As an astrologer, I'm very much interested in the why. And astrology gave me the answers. And I was like, holy smokes, this is a lot more deeper and more powerful than the sun sign stuff that I already knew. And I knew a little bit of chart stuff, to be fair, at that time. But this was like, just blew my mind. And I was like, this is powerful. This is important. I want to be able to share this with people. And it was a few years later that I wanted to put my own astrology out there in the world. I wanted to put my own spin on things. And at the time, especially the internet and astrology and internet at the time, there wasn't who I feel really were having the same conversation that we're kind of having now. But started empowering astrology in 2010, and then here we are 9 years later. So it's been a journey, and I really do enjoy getting to share this with you all, especially when I help you connect the dots in your life. But at the end of the day, this is your life to live. And if this gives you a tool, it gives you a resource, and of course there's other tools and resources out there. But for me, astrology is a very powerful tool because it helps you understand what time it is in your life and how you are being asked by the heavens, whatever you want to believe in, to grow and evolve and transform at this time. So my kind of particular viewpoint of astrology is always through the lens of evolution and transformation, and of course healing. So it's less about the what's going to happen to me as opposed to the why and how and when, this quality of time. But we're coming up on the half hour, so I wanted to again check in with you all, talk about the astrology of this week as we wrap up the lunar month. We prepare for a Leo new moon on Wednesday, July 31st at 8 degrees of Leo. We step into a lunar month that's about passion, creativity, joy, being seen, color, pizzazz, persona, personality, all these kind of Leo things. Art also as well. Leo is one of the artistic signs next to Pisces. Also, again, I'm teaching a webinar on Saturday, August 3rd at 4:30 p.m. Details and links are in the description of this video. Always, again, lovely to connect with you all. I'm going to be traveling soon, so that's why I was kind of seeing if I do have anybody who's out in Barcelona that wants to do a personal one-on-one consultation with me. And please sign up for my newsletter, because the newsletter is a really direct way for me to stay in touch with you all. I do write content that is just for my newsletter. I do give you all let's say a synopsis of what's happening in the week ahead in my newsletter. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm Empowering Astro on Instagram. I'm hoping to do more videos, more Facebook Lives. And of course, you can always book me for a consultation. I love connecting with you all one-on-one. I love, in particular, being part of your journey here in this life. I liken my work to just being a shepherd or a kind of like a midwife for people in the moments of their life, and helping you to get closer to these bigger goals, whether it's career or whether it's opening up to connection and relationships. So thank you all for coming and checking out this live feed and giving me your feedback and your comments, and continue to do so. I do love interacting with you all. So again, if you're feeling kind of that restless energy of Uranus today, just note that it's part of this bigger story of something in your life opening. Go back and listen to earlier in the video where I kind of gave you that very quick hit of where in your life is transforming depending on your sign. And till the next time, thank you very much. So, bye.